Hi everyone, here's some of what's heading your way tonight. Your news at 9. A couple of mall operators declare bankruptcy, including the operator of Joplin's North Park Mall. Plus, the last day of early voting in the Show Me State, and some Jasper County voters were greeted with long lines.
An election during a pandemic means that many people may not be able to get to the polls to cast their ballot. I'm Zach Dodge with what options you have if you're quarantined or even hospitalized. Coming up.
We speak with our local political organizations on issues surrounding political sign placement in the Joplin area and whether they are compliant or not to city ordinance. I'm Caitlin Shive. That's coming up.
Nick Kelly is weather. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Abbey. The company that operates Joplin's North Park Mall is filing for bankruptcy protection. It's one of 2 U.S. mall operators that filed for bankruptcy protection today because some stores within them have had to close or can't pay rent. Pennsylvania Real Estate Investment Trust and CBL, which operates the North Park Mall, says their mall will remain open throughout this bankruptcy process. It will remain open. In a statement, CBL says they plan to use the bankruptcy process to restructure their debt into a more manageable position. Nick Kelly joining us now with our first look at weather. Seems unusually warm for November, huh?
Yeah, given today when we got to a cold start this morning. In fact, right at the freezing mark at Joplin Regional, but an amazing jump to 67 degrees. All because of dry air in place. It can't hold the sun's rays, so it all comes right down to the surface to warm us up in a hurry. And it certainly did, with plenty of clear skies throughout the day. We're still seeing that as the nighttime continues. And as far as temperatures go, they have gotten chilly again. Most of us sitting, let's say, upper 40s to lower 50s. But thankfully, a cool night ahead of us. But we'll look at a mild, quiet election day and when our next chance of rain will be on the way. Coming up in a bit, Jordan.
Nick, thank you. Today is the last day for early voting in Missouri, and voters are faced with long lines, packed courthouses. KOM's Chris Warner spoke with voters on what they experienced casting their ballots.
Both Jasper County courthouse locations in Carthage and Joplin were open until 5 Monday, taking the final in-person absentee voters, like Brian Evans, who arrived around 11 a.m., but was told there may be up to an hour wait.
I knew there'd be a wait. I wasn't sure if it would be that long. I thought it might be 10, 15 minutes, but it was a little longer than I thought, but not as long as they thought. So
Evans says his wait was about 45 minutes. Cameron Montoya also came out to cast her absentee ballot, but the lines were longer by the time she arrived at the courthouse in Joplin.
It was super long at first. There was a lot of us crowded in one room, but it started to weed out as we got up to the polling area.
But there was another issue she noticed.
I would say we weren't socially distanced. I was sitting like shoulder to shoulder with a bunch of people.
And that concern is what kept Shannon Engel from voting absentee Monday.
And I get it. Everybody's trying to get it done so they don't have to do it tomorrow. But for me, I have a bad immune system, so I was trying to avoid crowds, and I went in there and it was not what I expected.
Jasper County Clerk Charlie Davis says that's because a felony court hearing was taking place on the same floor.
It's an unfortunate circumstance. I apologize to the public. It was nothing that we even knew about, that they were even having any courts on the second floor. Because
of that hearing, we were not allowed to film inside the Joplin Courthouse location. However, Davis has advice just ahead of the Tuesday polls opening.
If everybody wears gloves, wears masks, wear your protective stuff, then that's why you wear it, to protect yourself, etc. So if everybody's doing that, then we're going to be okay.
In Joplin and Carthage, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Last week, when we spoke with Charlie Davis, he told us absentee ballots had broken the 2016 record, just over 8,000. Today, Davis tells us they had well over 12,000 ballots. That leads us to tonight's KOAM News Now Insta poll question. We're asking, are you more likely to vote for or against a candidate? Think about that. You can vote on our website, komnewsnow.com/vote, or use our app on your mobile devices. Results update instantly on our broadcast. We'll check back on the results periodically during tonight's show. Many states are trying to make it easier for people to vote, even if they are being ordered to stay home. KOAM's Zach Dodge says how you can vote if you're under quarantine order or even hospitalized.
Officials expect a record-breaking turnout for this election. But what do you do if you're stuck at home because you've been exposed to COVID or even have it and didn't vote early? Well, you do still have some options. The Crawford County Clerk says in Kansas, you can vote as a sick or disabled assisted voter. That works by having someone go to the clerk's office, bring your ballot to you to vote, and then that person can take it back. There's not any pre-application required, but they do like to know ahead of time to streamline the process. And in Oklahoma, you can file an emergency incapacitated absentee ballot. An election official in Ottawa County says it works much the same way as it does in Kansas, where someone retrieves and delivers your ballot for you. But you do have to fill out an application, and the application has to include a statement by a licensed physician. And in Missouri, in some cases, they will send poll workers to your house. But that could be different county by county. For example, McDonald County says they'll be sending poll workers to houses, but they won't be in Jasper County because they don't have the resources. And no matter what state you're in, officials recommend calling them if you have any questions about voting while under quarantine so they can try to help. Reporting in Carthage, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
Officials in Ottawa and Crawford counties both tell us they've sent information to local hospitals as well so they can help patients vote without even leaving the hospital. The Jasper County, Missouri Republicans organization says some of their political signs have been taken down by the city of Joplin for violating the city sign ordinance. KOAM's Caitlin Shive spoke with their chairman on how the organization found its own way to comply with this ordinance.
The Jasper County Republicans organizations say they have been getting complaints from citizens alleging the city removed their political signs because they don't follow size requirements.
It has to be 15 foot from the road, which we are. A lot of people don't think we are, but we actually measure that off from there, and that it can't exceed 8 square foot, which is basically a 2 foot by 4 foot sign.
The City of Joplin's ordinance states that political signs can't exceed 8 square feet in area and no more than 5 feet in height while being 15 feet away from the curb. Some of the Republican Party signs did exceed those size limits, so Chairman Alan Griffin released a video showing their adjustments of cutting the 4x8 signs into 4 2x4 parts.
We should cover ourselves if I'm not wrong. If I am, let me know.
I was kind of being a wise guy, I guess. It's like we don't have one sign, we don't have 2 signs, we got 16 signs. So yeah, I mean, I even did a hashtag City of Joplin. I mean, I will be willing to work with them, but there's always, and in fact, I even contacted an attorney before I did that, just say, hey, will we be compliant? And it's like, yeah, as long as you do it that way and you're 15 foot back, I don't think it'll be a problem.
The video came with its share of complaints, including those from the Southwest Missouri Democrats.
We feel like that's a bit of a strange response. If you're trying to follow the laws and ordinances of a community, then you need to follow the spirit of the laws and ordinances of the community.
Stark added that their biggest concern is accusations against their organization in relation to the cut signs.
Now that they've cut those signs, there are some of them that are not holding up super well, and so I'm getting complaints and people sending things to me saying, you know, you guys are vandalizing the Republican signs. We did not cut those signs. We did not remove them. The City of Joplin removed them because they did not meet with the ordinance.
The Republican organization does plan on going to the city to try and change the ordinance requirements for the next election year.
People are going to complain no matter what, but I'd like to see it change to where we can be compliant.
In Joplin, Caitlin Shive, KOAM News.
City spokesperson tells us the city has in fact taken down signs that did not follow the ordinance, but it's not unusual, the city says, as the city says it happens during most election years. Heads up as you head to the polls tomorrow, leave your campaign materials at home. This includes clothing, candidate hats, buttons, pins, and other materials or clothing, face masks with Biden or Trump on them. Those are all not allowed near polling places, though the distances vary. In Kansas, that's 250 feet from the entrance. In Missouri, it's 25 feet from the building's outer door. And over in Oklahoma, it's 300 feet from the ballot box. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor one of our 4 state heroes. Harold Brewer served in the U.S. Army. Back in 1952, the Nevada, Missouri native was stationed in Korea as part of the 73rd Tank Battalion. We salute Corporal Harold Brewer. He is tonight's 4 state hero. Nick is next with a complete look at the forecast a bit later. The latest from the presidential campaign as the candidates make last-minute pitches to voters.
Sure enough, we turned mild again after we had a chilly end of the weekend. Highs in the 50s yesterday and easily back in the 60s with plenty of sunshine this afternoon from indigo sky outside of Seneca, Missouri. In fact, the entire area saw clear skies throughout the entire day. And with dry air still in place, we really took advantage of the sunshine to warm things up. Again, mid-50s yesterday, lower to middle 30s this morning, and pushing to 67 at last check at Joplin Regional. So we definitely took advantage of the sun today to warm things up. But now the sun has clearly set and still looking okay, even though it's downright chilly. 54 in Joplin, the south breeze at 13. That's going to help us prevent another cold night ahead of us. So we'll be thankful for that south wind to stay in place at about 13 miles per hour. 53 in Pittsburgh, 52 in Seneca. We have a couple 54s. Make that a trio of them from Webb City up to Oronogo and then back over to Carl Junction. The outlying areas have already snuck back into the upper 40s from Yates Center down to Independence. Everybody else either around 50 or trying to hold on to some mid-50s. But again, it's amazing to see the numbers climb as high as they did because of our dew points. Earlier today, these were pushing into the mid-20s and even some lower 30s. All that dry air, you can't hold on to the sun's rays with air that dry, so that's why we warmed up quickly throughout the course of the day. Those same clear skies, that's what we're still seeing right now, not just in our region, but across the entire Central Plains. Even though high pressure slid off to our southeast, as long as it's still around, though, that southwest wind will keep at it throughout the night to keep us in the 40s. Instead of another cold night ahead of us. In addition, an upper ridge is starting to build back in. That will keep us mild for much of this week and dry until we try to change things up by the end of the weekend ahead of us. In the short term, though, to start your election day on Tuesday morning, quiet, clear, but cool, with most of us dropping back in the lower to middle 40s. Areas outside of Joplin will be in the lower 40s. I think the city itself will drop off to about 45. Then the rest of the day is looking pretty good. Mostly sunny skies up top. Southwest wind at 5 to 10. Maybe some gusts near 20. Will allow us to go to 69 by noon. Afternoon highs near 73 in Joplin. But everyone is fair game to go back into the lower to middle 70s for a quiet Tuesday afternoon. And even as we go toward the evening, we're going to be staying in the 60s. So whenever you get out to vote, if you haven't done so, the weather is not going to be a problem. And it still won't be a problem for Wednesday, even though a quick upper wave will slide by. It only has just enough moisture to bring in mostly cloudy skies for Wednesday. We'll keep things dry through the middle of the week. Then the ridge takes back control to keep us mild and quiet to start the weekend out. But once we get after Saturday, here comes a trio, make that a duo of upper level lows ready to push a cold front our way for early next week. By that time, we'll see rain and thunderstorm chances start to roll back in. Before we deal with that, looking quiet for election day, mild with highs near 73, near 70 Wednesday and Thursday, and pretty consistent for much of the week ahead of us, Jordan.
Again, 70s. I know it's the beginning of November, but still.
Yeah, normally mid-60s is where we should be, so a little above normal, sure, but
we'll take it.
Nothing too outlandish.
No. Lee Kelly, thank you. Coming up, Election Day Eve.
The last day to vote is now just hours away, and the candidates are making one final push out on the campaign trail. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington. What they're telling voters coming up.
Weekend for both candidates. They were back on the campaign trail trying to reach any voters still on the fence about heading to the polls. Advisors and strategists say this race continues to tighten with both campaigns making their final arguments. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard reports from Washington.
Folks, Ohio, one more day.
No longer days away, now just hours. The 2020 election is almost here.
We are going to win this state, and we are going to win 4 more years in our great White House.
The presidential candidates and their running mates have grueling schedules on their final full day of campaigning. President Trump holding 5 rallies in 4 states, and former Vice President Joe Biden is focusing on Ohio and Pennsylvania.
Tomorrow we have an opportunity to put an end to a presidency that's divided this nation. Tomorrow we can put an end to a president that has failed to protect this nation.
A Real Clear Politics average of national polls has Biden leading Trump by 6.5%. His lead has narrowed over the last month.
They are the phoniest polls, and they were almost as bad 4 years ago.
Analysts say there are a handful of states to watch for an indication of who will win the White House, including Pennsylvania and Florida.
Trump can lose through the Sun Belt, but to win the presidency, he needs to hold all of the Sun Belt as well as pick off Pennsylvania or Michigan up north.
But they say also keep an eye on states that the candidates have been trying to flip.
If Georgia goes blue, I think that's the final nail in the coffin.
Businesses in cities all across the U.S. are bracing for unrest following the election. Analysts say people need to be patient for a result because it could take days, even weeks, for a clear winner. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
In tonight's KOAM News Now Instant Poll, we are asking you, are you more likely to vote for or against a candidate? You can vote at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or on the KOAM News Now mobile app. Here are some results so far. The majority of you saying, I vote for a candidate. Again, you can vote on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or on your mobile device. Just ahead, many people trying to deal with a lot of worry.
As voters head to the polls, many are anxious about the outcome. I'm William LaJeunesse in Los Angeles. I'll tell you why coming up.
Just hours before Election Day, of course, and voters are saying they are nervous despite the outcome. Fox News national correspondent William LaJeunesse explains why.
Tens of millions of Americans have already voted in this year's election, but whether or not they've cast their ballot, many are nervous about the outcome.
The anxiety has been building up over the months, and the closer we've been getting, it's definitely increased.
For some, their jitters spiked since the 2016 election.
I almost feel like my anxiety wasn't real then compared to how it is now, but I also am preparing myself to not be devastated or relaxed no matter what happens.
A surge of COVID cases and a volatile political divide across the country are just some of the concerns fueling this anxiety, along with uncertainty over ballot counting, how the loser will react, and what's to come for the country, with some supporters on both sides of the aisle believing the opposing candidate is a threat to America.
I'm anxious, honestly. I feel like regardless which outcome happens, I feel like there will be a lot of unrest.
After the votes are tallied, fear of rioting over disputed election results have prompted a spike in gun sales in parts of the country.
Normally I would have about 100 guns in this cabinet. They've sold twice.
Michigan is one state seeing a rise in sales, but some are buying firearms with the hope they never have to use them.
It's almost like a deterrent more than anything else. My goal is to never ever have to use it.
The pandemic prompting a surge in mail-in ballots this year, meaning there is a chance we will not know the outcome of the presidential race on election night. In Los Angeles, William LaJeunesse, Fox News.
Parents busting out those classics in order to entertain the kids during this pandemic. More on this unique thing that's happening when we come back. Still time to vote on tonight's KOM News Now Instant Poll. The question tonight, are you more likely to vote for or against a candidate? Remember, you can vote on our website, KOMnewsnow.com/vote, or by using our app on your mobile phone. We're going to have another look at those results so far in a few minutes. A new study has given us a closer look at a rare metallic asteroid. The 16 Psyche is one of the largest objects in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. The study has found that it could be worth $10 quintillion. That's a 1 with 19 zeros after it. I didn't know that. It's a big number, okay? That's how I view it. Psyche is believed to be made entirely of nickel and iron. Scientists think it's actually exposed core of an early planet. They hope studying the asteroid will help them better understand the Earth's core. NASA is planning to launch an unmanned spacecraft to study Psyche, but it won't get there until 2026. Parents are turning to board games to help their bored kids during this pandemic. Toy company Hasbro reported about a 20% jump in sales in its latest earnings release. The company owns classic board games like Monopoly, Life, Sorry, Clue, and a host of other games. Spike in sales likely fueled by families stuck indoors because of this coronavirus, as parents try to find new ways to keep those kiddos entertained while staying safe indoors. You know, times have changed. Nick Kelly and I were talking during the latest commercial back when we were kids. You had the original Nintendo, you had Sega. I think that's about it in terms of gaming consoles. So board games were popular.
Yeah, just like you said, Monopoly, it's still there to tear families apart if you have to go to that.
Kids these days. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming your way.
3 former nursing professors are suing MSSU after bringing up problems within the program and later being dismissed. I'm Kate Kelly with details on the lawsuit just ahead.
Volunteers helping out at Crosslines Ministries in Joplin for Commodity Night. And a Joplin City Council meeting tonight. Among the items on the agenda, a construction agreement to rebuild the sanitary sewer system in East Town.
Businesses across the U.S. are boarding up ahead of what could be a contentious election. I'm William LaJeunesse in Los Angeles. Details coming up.
3 former nursing instructors have filed a lawsuit against Missouri Southern's Board of Governors alleging whistleblower retaliation and a breach of contract after losing their jobs. KOM's Kate Kelly tells us more about why these professors are taking legal action.
Missouri Southern's nursing program first came under scrutiny back in May after the state board received an anonymous tip about violations of state regulations. Professors Sarah Staples, Peyton Kessler, and Coeta Ogle reported problems during a faculty accreditation meeting in March, bringing up concerns about being understaffed and overworked. A student feedback survey revealed that less than 50% of respondents rated the instructional environment as conducive for learning. Staples, Kessler, Ogle, and another employee suspected of providing the tip to the State Board of Nursing were dismissed. Now the trio of professors are seeking damages against the university in the form of lost salary, suffering, and mental anguish. MSSU declined to comment on any pending litigation, but said in part, "We know how important our nursing program is to this university as well as the 4-state area, and we are unequivocally dedicated and committed to ensuring it is of exceptional quality and will provide students with an outstanding educational experience." Last year, falling board pass rates and fewer instructors in the program prompted MSSU and the Missouri State Board of Nursing to begin the process for curriculum changes. While the state board told MSSU during its July inspection that they may be ordered to accept no new students, the university continued to enroll a new cohort. Missouri Southern says new nursing program leadership and faculty have been hired, but the future of the university's nursing program still faces hurdles. In Joplin, Kate Kelly, KOAM News.
Staples, Ogle, and Kessler are all being represented by the Thornberry Brown law firm out of Kansas City. Thornberry declined comment at this time, referring only to the petitions for details. Joplin City Council met tonight. On the agenda, pay raises for some council members. Council voted to pass a 9% wage increase for the city attorney, city clerk, municipal judge, and public offender as council employees. That increase goes into effect retroactively starting yesterday. Officials say this increase was discussed because a wage increase adopted back in 2018 for other city employees will adjust their wages by 9% next fiscal year. Also on the agenda, a baseball field lease agreement with Parkwood Tournament LLC. The agreement would let Parkwood lease several fields in order to host baseball tournaments between February of 2021 and November of 2023. Council tonight approved this agreement.
I feel good about the contract. I do like the idea of saving dollars and bringing in new revenue and motivating the use of the fields. I also like the fact that if it doesn't perform like we want it to, we've created very easy exit strategies if we feel like we need to move a different direction.
Parkwood will pay the city $55,000 annually to lease the facilities, which will by increase 3% every year. Council also approved a construction agreement with Visu Sewer of Missouri for the 2020 East Town Infrastructure Sanitary Sewer Project. The agreement is for more than $378,000. It's going to be used to reconstruct the existing sanitary sewer mains in the East Town neighborhood.
It's very, very important. We're trying to reduce the inflow and infiltration into a sanitary sewer line and doing rehab on manholes in the area. And so we're excited about the construction and the rehab improvement of that system out there.
Funding for the project comes from a community development block grant of $322,000, with the remaining cost coming out of the city budget. And especially important times coming up for food pantries. That's of course Thanksgiving and Christmas. So tonight was Crosslines Commodity Night. Crosslines in particular over in Joplin. Volunteers helped source clothing and food donations.
So many of us are fortunate in our lives and so many are not. And it is our job to help those that aren't in any way we can, whether that's money or time or volunteer activities like this.
Crosslines Ministries is located at 320 South School Avenue in Joplin. Federal judge has postponed the president's threatened shutdown of TikTok. On Friday, a U.S. district judge blocked an upcoming Commerce Department action that would have effectively banned the popular app. President Trump's executive order was set to take effect in 10 days. Businesses across the country putting up plywood, securing doors ahead of tomorrow's election. Many fear there could be unrest no matter the outcome. Law enforcement in major cities are also increasing their presence if potential protests turn violent. Fox News national correspondent William Longines joins us again with more details.
We're just hours away from Election Day, and while the outcome is uncertain, potential for violent protests is not. Business owners in major cities spent the past few days preparing for unrest, no matter which side wins.
It's a lot less to just do it than it would be to undo anything that actually happens.
High-end retailers in San Francisco are boarding up windows and doors ahead of Tuesday's election, while in Beverly Hills, the city is banning vehicles and pedestrians and hiring some 60 armed guards to help patrol its famed Rodeo Drive. Many business owners say they're not taking any chances.
We had the board from the last time that we boarded, so we used it again.
The NYPD sent a letter to business groups in Manhattan saying the department will handle Election Day staffing like major events, New Year's Eve and 4th of July. Many city businesses already faced a turbulent 2020, the pandemic forcing them to shut down for months, while looting and rioting following the death of George Floyd led to property damage.
It's cheaper to put up a piece of plywood than it is to lose a window that can cost thousands and thousands of dollars.
Law enforcement in major cities also ramping up their response ahead of Election Day, going on tactical alert. 12-hour shifts, no vacations. LAPD also training 120 officers a day in crowd control. The National Guard is also deploying troops in several states to support polling stations and respond to any civil unrest. And the White House is again erecting a no-climb fence around its perimeter. In Los Angeles, William Longines, Fox News.
In tonight's KOM News Now Answer poll question, we asked you, are you more likely to vote for or against a candidate? Here are the results so far. 84% of you say, I'm more likely to vote for a candidate. Now, if you haven't voted, there's still time. You can vote on our website, komnewsnow.com/vote, or use our app on mobile devices. The final results will be shown on our sister station, KOM News at 10. A bit later, the court case against Johnny Depp coming to a close.
A British judge rules against actor Johnny Depp in his high-stakes libel case. I'm Benjamin Hall in London with all the details coming up.
Sure enough, we turned mild for today after we wrapped up the weekend on a chilly note, thanks to all the sunshine that we saw. Of course, once we got past sunrise at the start of our time lapse of indigo sky outside of Seneca, Missouri, just open blue skies as far as the eye could see from sunrise all the way to sunset not too long ago now. And again, it made a difference with dry air in place, all that sunshine. No wonder we warmed up so fast. From 56 the other day to lower to middle 30s this morning, we catapulted into the middle to upper 60s across much of the area, and we'll keep that trend going throughout the day tomorrow. You can see how we look right now, though. Clear skies up top, chilly, 54 degrees with the south wind at 13. Fortunately, that's going to help us out with temperatures tonight. In the meantime, just keeping Pittsburgh at 52, 50 in Seneca, 54 in Webb City and Oronogo, while we have 51 for Diamond and Neosho. Outlying areas have already dropped back into the upper 40s, but I don't think we're going to see a crazy drop in temperatures for tonight because of our winds. We had the wind out of the south between 5 and 15 miles per hour throughout the day. They've lightened up a little bit. However, as long as that south and southwest breeze keeps going, we're not going to deal with the 30s tonight. It'll be cool, but we'll thankfully take 40s for overnight lows compared to our cold start this morning. That's despite clear skies still up top. There's nothing going on across our region and much of the central plains. Even though high pressure has shifted off to the south and east, we're still going to stay dry for tomorrow as that south wind behind the high keeps the mild air coming from the Gulf of Mexico. Not to mention the upper level setup. The upper ridge starting to take back control of our weather regime, so we will take advantage of that, keep things quiet for the rest of the week, including Election Day tomorrow. Granted, we have to start off on a cool note for Tuesday morning. Thankfully, no threatening weather. And again, not quite as cold as where we were this morning. Only lower to middle 40s for overnight lows. I think Joplin starts around 45 in the morning. Then we're just looking okay, just like today, all over again for tomorrow. 69 by lunchtime and highs near 73 under mostly sunny skies. Everyone's fair game to go lower to middle 70s. So no matter where you are across the area for tomorrow, if you haven't voted yet, the weather will not stop you from voting on Election Day, whether it's in the morning in the mid-40s or flirting with 70 by lunchtime and even in the 60s before the polls close at 7 p.m. We're looking pretty good as far as weather goes for Election Day tomorrow. We keep things quiet for Wednesday, even though a quick upper wave swings by. It only has just enough moisture to bring in just cloud cover for Wednesday. That's about it. We're dry Thursday. We're dry to start the weekend out. Then we'll see this low split into two come Sunday and Monday and start to push a cold front our way. When that happens, we'll have a better shot of rain and thunderstorms sneaking back into the mix for Sunday and Monday. In the meantime, we're about as quiet as can be with mild temperatures continuing. 73 tomorrow, near 70 Wednesday and Thursday, and staying in the lower 70s with morning lows in the 50s, Jordan.
As you were saying, it's beautiful during the daytime, nice and warm, unseasonably warm, but during the nighttime when that sun goes away, it's chilly.
Yeah, sometimes some might say that's pretty good.
Yeah, Nick Kelly, thank you. Coming up, going to hear from former Purple Dragon wide receiver Dylan White about his impressive college debut at Pitt State. Former Pittsburgh High School standout Dylan White shining in his Pitt State debut on Saturday. Sports director Jacob Leonard catches up with the Purple Dragon turned Gorilla after his breakout game.
Dylan White made a splash on Saturday in his first game in a Pitt State uniform.
Growing up watching Gorilla football, it's all you dreamed of, and being able to come out here and do that, I mean, it felt awesome.
The former Purple Dragon caught 5 passes for 105 yards here at Carney Smith Stadium on Saturday, including a 72-yard touchdown in the third quarter.
We had that play early on in the game, which it was there. We just couldn't execute it. Later on, it came back, and Coach Wright, good play call. Mac put the ball where it needed to be, and I mean, everybody else did the job, which made me do my job.
I knew what he could do in terms of some of the balls that go over the top. He's going to chase them down and take them. So he exceeded my expectations game one.
Once we kind of, that first play got out of the way, kind of got relaxed. In the moment, didn't really feel like anything, just playing football, catching the ball and running.
White was an all-state player at Pittsburgh High School. As a senior, he earned 4A Offensive Player of the Year honors under head coach Tom Nicholson.
It looks very familiar, different number, but we saw Dylan behind secondary most of his high school career as a junior and a senior. He was a no-brainer for us coming out of high school. We call him, a 5 clipper. You watch 5 clips of his film and go, okay, we're good here, let's move on. He's always had that next gear and been able to run somebody down, run by somebody, or run to a ball. It's God-given, and when he needs it, it's there.
While it was a breakout game for the redshirt freshman, White says he's got plenty of room to grow.
After the game, I was already ready to, get back to work, We didn't get the win, which is what we come out week in, week out to do. So, I mean, not coming in with a win, never satisfied, so we got to bounce back this week and hopefully have a lot to film to kind of look over, see what I can do better at.
In Pittsburgh, Jacob Leonard, KOAM Sports.
White and the Gorillas are going to be back on the field this Saturday on the road against Missouri Western. Back with more news after this. Britain's High Court issuing a ruling in Johnny Depp's high-stakes libel case, and now some are wondering how this decision is going to impact the actor's career. Fox News correspondent Benjamin Hall has more.
Actor Johnny Depp loses his libel case against British tabloid The Sun for alleging he abused his ex-wife, actress Amber Heard. A UK judge handing down the ruling on Monday called the claims substantially true and said he believed Heard often feared for her life.
Essentially, the judge says every single application of abuse is found, that Johnny Depp did have demons.
Depp sued The Sun's publisher and executive editor over an article claiming he assaulted Amber Heard repeatedly throughout their marriage. During a nearly 3-week trial, Heard testified the abuse was fueled by Depp's drug and alcohol use. while Depp told the court the actress created a dossier of false claims against him to have insurance later on.
Hopefully, despite everything, it will encourage other young women to come forward.
Depp's attorney called Monday's ruling bewildering, saying in part, quote, "The judgment is so flawed that it would be ridiculous for Mr. Depp not to appeal this decision." Many now wondering what the impact will be on Depp's reputation and lucrative career, as he often starred in family-friendly films. He'll also be facing several $1 million in legal fees for both himself and the Sun.
I suspect he'll decide to take some time out and try to address the issues with help, and then be able to come back and say, I'm a different person now.
Depp is also suing Heard in the US for allegedly defaming him in the Washington Post. In London, Benjamin Hall, Fox News.
A wide variety of movies and TV shows coming out on demand this week. Check out the new viewing options after this break. DVD and music releases this week include a horror thriller, a family drama, an epic fantasy, and disco pop music. I can't dance, I'm sorry. Here's Fox's Adjective working with a list of new releases.
What is your emergency?
Janelle Monáe's reality-warping horror film Antebellum tops the list of what's new in home entertainment. She plays a successful author who finds herself caught between two time periods, the present day and pre-Civil War.
You up yet? I'm dead soon. You coming down?
Susan Sarandon, Kate Winslet, and Mia Wasikowska star in the family drama Blackbird. The story centers around a mother who is terminally ill and gathers her loved ones for a final weekend at her beach house.
Beauty isn't just skin deep.
The British drama Misbehavior tells the true story about members of the women's liberation movement disrupting the live broadcast of the 1970 Miss World Beauty competition in London.
This is how we change the world.
A billionaire tech CEO hires a team of mercenaries to protect a dangerous piece of technology in the action thriller Hard Kill. Bruce Willis and Jesse Metcalfe both star.
We're ready for you, Your Majesty.
From TV to DVD, the complete third season of the hit Netflix series The Crown. And the entire Game of Thrones series is available for the first time on 4K Ultra HD. The complete collection includes all 8 seasons and more than 15 hours of bonus footage.
Anything could happen.
And for music fans, Australian pop singer Kylie Minogue releases her 15th album, Disco. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Going to leave you with a video of red pandas, hey little man, over at the Oregon Zoo enjoying some treats. Have a safe election day tomorrow. Be sure to go out and vote if you haven't done so already. Do this all again tomorrow with lots of election numbers. See you then.